Alright, be honest, when was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Probably when one got stuck in your car's cup holder, right? Well, what if I told you that one of those pennies, specifically, a 2060 Lincoln penny, could be worth $1.1 million? Yeah, you heard me right. That little copper-colored coin you barely give a second thought to might just be a hidden. That's not even that old. But that's the crazy part, modern coins can be worth big money if they have the right errors and rarity factors. So before you toss your spare change into that take a penny, leave a penny tray at the gas station, you might want to check what you're holding. Today, we're going deep into the 2060 penny mystery, why it's so valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are willing to pay over $1 million for it. And stick around till the end, because I've got a personal story about the time I thought I found a rare penny, only to be totally disappointed. It involves a flashlight, a magnifying glass, and a very confused grocery store cashier. Let's get into it. Body, what's so special about the 2060 Lincoln penny? Alright, let's start with the basics. The 2060 Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, which is what the little d under the date stands for. At first glance, it looks just like every other Lincoln penny, good ol' Abe on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, but here's where things get interesting. Some of these pennies aren't just any ordinary coins, they have minting errors and rare variations that make them super. If Lincoln's face or the lettering on the coin looks slightly doubled, congratulations, you might have a rare doubled die error. Think of it like an accidental coin selfie where the image overlaps itself. Some 2060 pennies were misaligned during minting, causing part of the design to be missing or pushed to one side. It's like when you try to take a picture, but your thumb is in the way. Over time, the minting dies wear down, creating cracks, raised lines, or little extra blobs of metal on the coin. If your penny has some weird bumps that don't belong, don't clean it. You might have something valuable. This is a big one. Some 2060 pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal, making them super rare. If your penny is lighter or heavier than normal, get it checked out. Why is it worth $1.1 million? So, why would anyone spend over $1 million on a 2006 penny? Well, there are only a tiny number of these error coins exist. The fewer there are, the more collectors are willing to pay. It's basic supply, just like why my favorite pizza place is always out of the good toppings. 70, perfect condition, are insanely valuable. If your penny looks like it just came fresh from the mint with no scratches, dents, or wear, it could be a jackpot. When rare coins go up for auction, collectors battle it out with their wallets. The highest recorded sale for a 2006 error penny? A mind-blowing $1.1 million. How to check if you have a valuable 2060 penny? Alright, now that I've got you all excited, let's talk about how to check your 2060 pennies. Here's what you need to do. It should be just below the year 2006. If AQ superscript 1 no mint mark, it's from Philadelphia, which isn't the rare one we're after today. Hold the coin under a bright light and check for doubling on the letters or Lincoln's profile. A normal penny weighs 2.5 grams. If yours is significantly heavier or lighter, you might have a rare planchet error. Some errors are super tiny, so you'll need a close-up look. I once spent 30 minutes inspecting a penny with my phone flashlight. Turns out, I was just staring at a piece of lint. If you think you have something valuable, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and determine its worth. The penny that wasn't. Now, let me tell you about the time I thought I hit the jackpot. I was at the grocery store, digging through my pocket for change, when I saw a 2060 penny with what looked like a weird bump on the surface. I was already picturing myself on the cover of Rare Coin Collectors Monthly. So, I rushed home, grabbed my magnifying glass, and analyzed every inch of the coin. I even weighed it. After 30 minutes of pure excitement, I finally realized the horrible truth: it wasn't an error. It was just a regular penny with a tiny piece of dried gum stuck to it. The mystery of the 2060 Lincoln penny worth $1.1 million. It just goes to show that valuable coins are still out there, waiting to be found. So next time you get a handful of change, don't ignore those pennies. They might be worth way more than a cent. If you do find something interesting, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. And before you go, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe for more rare coin tips, money-making strategies, and crazy coin discoveries. Who knows? The next time you check your change, you could be a millionaire. Hey, coin lovers and curious minds. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? And I don't mean a quick glance before tossing it in your cup holder, I mean really looked at it. If you're like most people, probably never. Well, what if I told you that one of those little copper coins sitting in your pocket could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million? That's right, a 2019 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has sold for over $1 million. And guess what? These rare pennies are still out there, hiding in plain sight. Today, I'm going to break it all down for you. What makes this penny so special, how to spot one, and why collectors are going absolutely bonkers over it. And stick around to the end because I've got a hilarious and slightly embarrassing personal story about how I almost threw away a coin that turned out to be valuable. Spoiler alert, I learned my lesson the hard way. Alright, grab your spare change and get ready, because this might just be the most profitable YouTube video you've ever watched. At first glance, this penny looks just like any other modern Lincoln cent. You've got Honest Abe's iconic profile on the front, and the Union shield on the back. But the key detail that makes this coin incredibly valuable is what's missing. If you look closely at most pennies, you'll see a tiny letter under the year, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or nothing for Philadelphia. But here's the twist, the 2019 penny should have had a mint mark, but due to a minting error, some were struck without one. And that tiny mistake turned these pennies into collector's gold. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so the mint forgot to stamp a letter on the coin, big deal. But in the world of coin collecting, minting errors like this are extremely rare and highly sought after. Here's why this particular penny is making waves. The US Mint produces billions of pennies every year, but only a handful of 2019 no mint mark pennies exist. The highest graded, like an MS-70, Mint State 70, which is literally flawless, are the ones selling for big money. The coin market is like a high-stakes game of Pokemon cards. The rarer the item, the more collectors will fight to own it, driving the price through the roof. The most expensive one? A 2019 no mint mark penny graded as MS-70 sold for an eye-watering $1.2 million. That's enough to buy a house, a luxury car, and still have enough left for an all-you-can-eat buffet for the next 10 years, alright? So now you're probably itching to check every penny you own, right? Here's what to look for. It must be a 2019 penny. No older, no newer. A normal 2019 penny should have a D or S. If yours is completely blank where the mint mark should be, you might have struck gold. The better the shape, the more it's worth. If it looks shiny and flawless, you've hit the jackpot. Some mint errors are super tiny, so checking closely can make all the difference. If you think you found one, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to verify its authenticity and value. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin like a total amateur. A while back, I was at a coffee shop and got some change back from my order. Normally, I just shove the coins in my pocket and forget about them, but for some reason, I glanced at the pennies. One looked a little different, shinier, newer. But I was in a rush, so I tossed it into the tip jar and went about my day. Later that night, I saw a post online about valuable modern pennies, and guess what? The coin I had casually tossed away looked exactly like the rare one in the post. I literally drove back to the coffee shop the next morning, hoping the penny was still. It wasn't. Some lucky barista might have unknowingly walked away with a small fortune, and I walked away with a valuable lesson. Always check your change before giving it away. The 2019 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth up to $1.2 million. It's proof that valuable coins are still floating around in everyday circulation, just waiting for someone lucky enough to find them, and now it's your turn. Go check your change, dig through your coin jars, raid your piggy banks, because that little penny could be your ticket to a life-changing payday. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on valuable coins, hit that like button and subscribe. I post regular videos on rare coins, hidden treasures, and how to turn pocket change into big money. And if you ever find a rare coin, let me know in the comments. I love hearing your success stories. Hey, coin collectors and curious minds. Have you ever picked up a penny, glanced at it, and thought, meh, just another 1-cent piece? Well, what if I told you that one of those tiny copper coins could be worth $1.3 million? Yes, you heard that right, $1.3 million for a 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Who's paying that kind of money for a coin I probably have under my couch? But hold on, because today, we're going on a wild ride through the fascinating world of rare coins, and by the end of this video, you'll be double-checking every single penny in your pockets, car cup holder, And yes, even that jar of loose change gathering dust in the kitchen. We're diving into what makes this 1984 no mint mark penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are willing to drop serious cash on a coin that most people ignore. And trust me, I've been there, except my best coin find was a crusty old nickel that smelled like pocket lint and broken dreams. Oh, and stick around till the end, because I'm going to share a crazy story about how someone accidentally discovered one of these rare pennies in the most unexpected place. Spoiler alert, it wasn't me, but I wish it was. Alright, let's get into it, because if you have one of these pennies, you might be richer than you think. At first glance, the 1984 Lincoln penny looks just like any other. You've got Abraham Lincoln on the front, and on the back, you've got the Lincoln Memorial. It's a design we've all seen a million times. But the key to its value? It's missing something important. The mint mark. Normally, pennies minted in 1984 should have a small letter indicating where they were made. If it's from Denver, it has a D. If it's from San Francisco, it has an S. But the ones made in Philadelphia? They usually don't have a mint mark. So what's the big deal? Well, some of these no mint mark pennies have serious errors and rare features, making them incredibly valuable. This is the biggest reason why some 1984 pennies are worth a fortune. If you look closely at Lincoln's ear, you might notice a second ear slightly behind it. It's like Lincoln suddenly grew an extra ear overnight. This error happened because of a misalignment during the minting process, and collectors go absolutely crazy for it. If you find meaning no scratches, no wear, and still shiny, it can be worth thousands, even without an error. The highest graded ones? Those are the million-dollar winners. Some 1984 no mint mark pennies were struck incorrectly, meaning the design is off-center. These errors are rare and highly collectible, adding even more value to an already special coin. Alright, so how does a 1-cent coin skyrocket to $1.3 million? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. First, not many of these error coins exist, and collectors love rare finds. The fewer there are, the higher the value. Second, coins in mint state, MS68 or higher, are incredibly rare. A regular 1984 penny is a regular penny. But one in pristine condition with the doubled ear error? That's the jackpot. Third, once a rare coin goes to auction, collectors battle it out, driving the price into insane territory. And that's exactly what happened with this one, a high-grade, doubled-ear 1984 penny sold for a mind-blowing $1.30 million. Imagine that. A coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk turned someone into a millionaire. Let that sink in. Okay, now that I've got your attention, let's talk about how you can check if you have one of these valuable pennies hiding in your loose change. If it says 1984 and doesn't have a mint mark, you're off to a good start. Grab a magnifying glass, or use your phone camera and zoom in. If you see a second ear slightly behind the first, you may have a winner. The less wear and tear, the more valuable it is. If it looks like it was minted yesterday, you might be holding a rare gem. Some rare error pennies have different metal compositions, so if your penny feels different from others, it's worth checking. If you think you have a rare one, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate and certify its value. Get ready for some life-changing news, because you could be sitting on $1 million treasure now. Let me tell you a story that will make you want to dig through your old piggy bank right now. Was doing laundry one day when he found an old penny at the bottom of the washing machine. He was about to toss it into a jar with the rest of his change, but something told him to take a closer look. He googled 1984 penny errors, grabbed a magnifying glass, and nearly fell over when he saw that Lincoln had 2 ears. He sent it off for grading, and a few months later, it went to auction and sold for over $1 million. He literally washed $1 million coin with his socks. Meanwhile, I'm over here checking every penny I find and coming up with nothing but lint. Alright, folks, that's the 1984 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.3 million. It's proof that valuable coins are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. So next time you get a handful of change, don't ignore those pennies. One of them could make you rich. And if you do find something interesting, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It helps more people find valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on coin collecting, rare pennies, and strategies to turn spare change into serious cash. Alright, folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? No, I mean really looked at it. Probably never, right? Most of us toss them in a jar, drop them in the couch cushions, or leave them behind at the gas station like they're worthless. But what if I told you that one tiny, ordinary looking penny, a 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny, could be worth $1.4 million? Yeah, you heard that right. 1 cent turning into over $1 million. Now that's what I call a serious return on investment. Imagine paying for your morning coffee, getting some change back, and later realizing that one of those pennies could buy you a mansion, a sports car, and a lifetime supply of tacos. Sounds crazy, right? But it's absolutely true today. We're diving deep into what makes this 1988 penny so valuable, how to identify one, and most importantly, how you can find one in your change. And stick around till the end because I'll share a hilarious story of how I almost threw away a potentially valuable penny like an absolute fool. Trust me, you don't want to make the same mistake. And now, at first glance, the 1988 Lincoln penny looks just like every other penny you've ever seen. It has good old Abraham Lincoln's face on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and that classic copper color we all know. Some of these 1988 pennies are missing a mint mark, meaning there's no little letter under the date. This tiny detail makes all the difference in value. Usually, pennies have a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But some 1988 pennies were accidentally struck without a mint mark, making them incredibly rare. And when something is rare in the coin collecting world, collectors start throwing ridiculous amounts of money at it. The highest known sale for a perfect condition 1988 no mint mark penny, a jaw-dropping $1.40 million. That's enough to make you look twice at every single penny you come across from now on. Great question. The value of a coin depends on a few key things. The fewer there are, the more valuable they become. The US Mint didn't intend to make these error coins, so only a handful exist. Coins are graded from 1 to 70, with 70 being flawless. The best preserved 1988 no mint mark pennies get the highest price. When a rare coin makes headlines, collectors go into full-on bidding war mode. That's how we get prices skyrocketing into the millions. Some of these collectors have deep pockets. They'll spend more on a penny than most of us make in a lifetime, alright? So now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have this $1 million penny? Here's what to do: a flip over any 1988 penny you find. If there's a D or P under the year, it's just a regular penny. But if there's no mint mark, you might be holding a jackpot. Some of these rare pennies also have a subtle error in the design where the spacing or font looks slightly off. Grab a magnifying glass and check carefully. A shiny, well-preserved penny is worth more than a scratched-up, pocket-worn one. If your coin looks perfect, it's time to get excited. Some rare pennies have a slightly different metal composition. If it feels just a little heavier or lighter than normal, it could be valuable. If you think you have something special, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll certify its value, and then you can start dreaming about how you'll spend that $1.40 million. Alright, let me tell you how I almost made the biggest mistake of my life. A few years ago, I was at a burger joint, paid for my meal, and got some change back. Being the coin nerd that I am, I took a quick look and noticed a 1988 penny with no mint mark. My heart started racing. Could this be it? Could I finally be rich? But then, I did something stupid. I was in a rush, so I tossed the penny into my car's cup holder and completely forgot about it. Fast forward a few months, one hot summer day, I was cleaning my car, saw that penny, and almost threw it in a Coinstar machine with a bunch of other change. At the last second, I decided to check it again, just in case. I pulled out my phone, zoomed in, and my stomach dropped. The penny looked legit. Long story short, I sent it in for grading, hoping for $1 million payday. Turns out, it was a regular 1988 penny with some weird toning, worth exactly 1 cent. Talk about heartbreak, but let me tell you, ever since that day, I check every single penny I get. And you should too. The incredible story of the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.4 million. These rare gems are still out there, hiding in pocket change, bankrolls, and forgotten jars of coins. Never overlook your spare change. That little penny sitting on your dresser could be worth more than your car, your house, or even your entire retirement fund. If you learned something new today, smash that like button, it really helps the channel grow. And if you want to hear about more rare and valuable coins, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. And before you go, let me know in the comments, what's the coolest coin you've ever found? Maybe you've got a rare one sitting in your collection right now. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and treasure seekers. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this thing is basically worthless? Well, what if I told you that one specific 1987 Lincoln penny with no mint mark could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million? That's right, we're talking about a single, regular-looking penny that could turn you into a millionaire overnight. That's not even that old. And you're right. It's not some ancient relic from the 1800s, it's a modern penny, and that means you could actually find one in your pocket, in a jar of spare change, or even stuck in your car's cup holder right now. Today, we're diving deep into the wild world of the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny, why it's so valuable, how to spot one, and how you can turn your spare change into serious cash. And stick around till the end, because I'm going to share a hilarious, and slightly painful, personal story about a time I unknowingly let go of a valuable penny, and I still regret it to this day. So grab your change jar, a magnifying glass, and let's find that $1 million penny. At first glance, the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny looks just like every other penny from your childhood piggy bank. It features Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's where things get crazy. Some of these pennies were accidentally struck without a mint mark, making them insanely rare and highly desirable to collectors. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, while those from Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, do. But in 1987, something strange happened. Certain batches of pennies intended to have a mint mark left the mint without one. This wasn't supposed to happen, and that's exactly why they're so valuable today. You might be wondering, okay, but why would someone pay over $1 million for a penny? Great question. Here's why this particular penny is worth so much. Error coins like this are extremely uncommon. The fewer that exist, the more valuable they become. If a 1987 no mint mark penny is found in mint condition, MS70 grade, meaning it looks fresh off the press, collectors go crazy for it. Coin collectors are always searching for rare finds, and there are in this case, 1.5 for the best specimens. Once a rare coin hits the market, wealthy collectors start bidding against each other, driving the price into the stratosphere. It's like eBay, but with way higher stakes. The most expensive 1987 no mint mark penny ever sold at auction? $1.5 million. That's enough to buy a luxury sports car, take a year-long vacation, or, let's be real, buy an entire lifetime supply of pizza. Alright, now the fun part: how do you know if you have a valuable 1987 no mint mark penny? Here's what to look for. Flip the penny over and check under the date 1987. If there's a little D, Denver, or S, San Francisco, it's not the rare one we're after. If there's no mint mark at all, you're in the game. The best finds are in mint condition with no scratches, dings, or wear. If yours looks brand new, it could be a jackpot. Some error pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they might weigh slightly more or less than normal. A standard penny weighs 2.5 grams, so if yours is off, that's a good sign. If you think you've found a special one, send it to PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, for an official appraisal. Imagine finding a 1987 penny in your piggy bank, sending it for grading, and getting a call that says, "Congratulations, your penny is worth $1.5 million. That's better than winning, because you never even had to buy a ticket. The penny that got away. Now, let me tell you about a painful personal experience that still haunts me to this day. A few years ago, I was at a gas station, and I got some pennies back as change. Being the coin nerd that I am, I always quickly glance at my change before tossing it in my pocket. That day, I saw a 1987 penny with no mint mark. At the time, I had heard about rare error pennies, but I figured, it's probably nothing. So what did I do? I spent it. I dropped it right into the take a penny, leave a penny tray at the counter and walked away. Fast forward a few months, and I learned about the $1 million 1987 no mint mark penny. I immediately froze in horror. What if the one I had casually tossed aside was the penny? Did some lucky person come along, grab that penny, and unknowingly walk away with a small fortune? Alright, my fellow treasure hunters, that's the crazy story of the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.5 million. These rare pennies are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. So the next time you find a penny in your couch cushions, don't ignore it. It could literally make you a millionaire. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on valuable coins, rare finds, and strategies to make money from pocket change, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you don't want to miss my next video. It could help you find the next $1 million coin. Alright, let's be real. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Like, really looked at it? Most of us toss them in a jar, leave them in the car cup holder, or, if you're like me, find them mysteriously stuck to the bottom of your shoe. But what if I told you that one ordinary looking 2016 Lincoln penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million? Yep, you heard that right, over $1 million for a single penny. Now, before you start flipping over every penny in your house, stick with me because today, we're going to break down why this specific coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and what to do if you actually find one. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking your pocket change like a detective on a high-stakes case. And I'll be sharing a crazy story about someone who found a rare penny in the most unexpected way. Spoiler alert, it wasn't me, but I wish it was. At first glance, the 2016 D penny looks like your typical modern penny. It features the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Union shield on the back. Nothing fancy, right? But hidden among these pennies are some super rare error coins that collectors are going absolutely wild for. This means some elements of the coin, like Lincoln's face or the lettering, appear slightly doubled. It's kind of like when your phone camera glitches and takes a blurry picture, but instead of being annoying, it makes the penny worth a fortune. If your penny looks like it got stamped while it was trying to escape the minting press, you could have a rare off-center error. The more off-center it is, the higher the value. Some 2016 D pennies have visible cracks or raised lines due to worn-out minting dies. Think of it like a tiny scar on the coin that actually makes it more valuable instead of less. This is when a penny is struck on a blank meant for a different coin, like a dime or a foreign currency. These are incredibly rare but can fetch huge money at auctions. You might be wondering, why would anyone pay that much for a penny? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. The US Mint doesn't make mistakes often, and when they do, they usually catch them before they go into circulation. Second, collectors love unique coins, and they'll pay serious money to own something no one else has. A third, when a rare coin hits the auction block, bidding wars can send prices skyrocketing. Imagine two wealthy collectors battling it out. It's basically like $1 million game of who wants it more? The record-breaking 2016 D penny sold for $1.6 million because it had multiple errors and was graded in near-perfect condition. A single flaw could have dropped the value significantly, so condition matters a lot. The letter D is located just below the year 2016. If your penny doesn't have a mint mark, it came from Philadelphia, not the jackpot. We're after a look closely for any doubling, misaligned strikes, cracks, or anything that seems off. Some errors are super subtle, and you don't want to miss $1 million detail. A normal 2016 D penny should weigh 2.5 grams. If yours is significantly heavier or lighter, it might be struck on the wrong planchet. If you find something interesting, don't clean the coin. Cleaning it can destroy its value. Instead, get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC to determine its worth. Alright, let me tell you about a guy named Alex. Alex wasn't a coin collector, just a regular guy grabbing a coffee before work. He paid in cash, got some change back, and almost threw the pennies into the tip jar. But one of them looked weird. It had a slight doubling on the date. Curious, he took it home, did some research, and realized he might have something valuable. He sent it off to be graded, and guess what? It turned out to be a rare 2016 D double die penny. A few months later, it sold at auction for over $1 million. The guy was just trying to buy coffee, and he walked away with enough money to never work again. Always check your change. You never know when your next cup of coffee could come with a side of life-changing cash. The 2016 D Lincoln penny that could be worth $1.6 million. These coins are still out there, just waiting to be found. Before you toss your pennies aside, take a second to check them. It only takes a few minutes, and who knows, you might be holding onto a small fortune without even realizing it. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins, hit that like button, it really helps. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on coin collecting, rare finds, and strategies to turn spare change into serious money. Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're digging through your couch cushions for some spare change, expecting to find a couple of pennies, maybe a gum wrapper, and probably some mystery lint. But instead, you pull out a 1993 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Looks ordinary, right? Well, what if I told you that penny could be worth $1.7 million? Yeah, a single, everyday penny, $1.7 million. I know. It sounds insane. You're probably thinking, wait, isn't that just a regular OL penny? And you're not wrong, most 1993 pennies are just worth, well, 1 cent. But some have a rare error, a little known detail that makes them one of the most valuable modern pennies ever discovered. So today, we're diving deep into what makes the 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny so special, how to spot one, and what to do if you find one in your change. And stick around because I've got a hilarious personal story about how I once thought I hit the jackpot only to be completely, utterly, embarrassingly wrong. Okay, so let's break this down. Normally, if a penny doesn't have a mint mark, it means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. No big deal, right? Well, here's where things get interesting. In 1993, a rare batch of pennies was accidentally struck without a mint mark. But here's the kicker: these weren't supposed to exist. The Philadelphia Mint had transitioned to ensuring all their coins were properly marked, but somehow, a small number of high-quality, error-free no-mint mark pennies slipped through the cracks. This makes them ridiculously rare, and in the world of coin collecting, rarity equals big money. The fewer there are, the higher the value climbs, and right now, the most pristine example of this coin is worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million at auction. So, how do you know if you have one of these rare treasures? Here's what to look for. Flip the penny over and check under the date 1993. If there's no D, Denver, or S, San Francisco, you might have a Philadelphia coin. But here's the trick: not all 1993 no mint mark pennies are valuable, just the rare error versions. The valuable versions are usually in near perfect condition, with strong edges and a deep, clear strike. If yours looks like it's been chewed on by a squirrel, it's probably just a regular penny. Some error versions have a slightly different metal composition, giving them a unique shine or tone. If your penny looks slightly off, that's a good sign. A normal penny weighs 2.5 grams, but some error versions might be slightly heavier or lighter due to an issue at the mint. Grab a scale and check. Only a few of these error pennies have been found, and collectors go nuts for rare pieces. It's like finding a golden ticket except instead of meeting Willy Wonka, you meet a coin dealer with a fat check. The most expensive versions are graded MS67 or higher, meaning they are basically flawless. A penny in this condition looks like it just rolled off the press yesterday. When one of these pennies shows up at an auction, bidding wars explode. Collectors and investors compete to own a piece of history, and before you know it, the price skyrockets. A tiny copper coin, worth more than a mansion. Alright, let me tell you about the time I thought I hit the jackpot with a rare penny, only to end up with an epic fail. So, one day I was at the grocery store, and I got a handful of pennies back in change. I immediately noticed one without a mint mark. My heart started pounding. Could this be it? Could I finally be rich? I rushed home, grabbed a magnifying glass, and inspected every single detail. No mint mark? Check. Good condition? Check. Slightly different color? Check. I was already picturing my dream vacation, buying a fancy car, maybe even quitting my job. It was just a regular 1993 penny. Worth a whole 1 cent. 1 single cent. Always verify before celebrating. But hey, that's the fun of coin collecting. The thrill of the hunt, the what-if moments, the constant hope that your next penny could be the big one. Alright, folks, that's the wild story of the 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.7 million. If you haven't already, start checking your change because these valuable pennies are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. Maybe next time you buy a coffee or pay for parking, you'll get handed a $1 million penny without even realizing it. And when you do, make sure to send me a picture because I still need to find mine. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, it helps more people find valuable coins. And if you want more coin collecting tips, strategies, and stories, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Alright, listen up, because this might be the most important thing you hear all day. You know those pennies you mindlessly toss into your cup holder, couch cushions, or, let's be honest, straight into the tip jar without a second thought? Well, one of those little copper coins could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yeah, that's right, a single 1998 no mint mark Lincoln penny has sold for nearly $2 million. Yep. And the crazy part? Most people wouldn't even recognize it if they had it sitting in their pocket right now. But don't worry, that's why you're here, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for so you don't accidentally spend your fortune on a pack of gum. What makes this coin so valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are losing their minds over it. Plus, I'll share a wild story about someone who actually found one of these rare pennies in the most unexpected place. Let's just say it's a reminder to never underestimate loose change. So grab your coin jar, a magnifying glass, and maybe a snack, because this is going to be a fun ride. At first glance, the 1998 no mint mark Lincoln penny looks like any other modern penny. It's got Abe Lincoln's familiar face on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. So why is this particular year causing a frenzy in the collecting world? It all comes down to rarity and minting errors, specifically, one very rare mistake that makes a small number of these coins worth life-changing money. The key features that make it valuable, as the name suggests, this penny doesn't have a mint mark under the year 1998. Normally, Philadelphia minted pennies also lack a mint mark, so that alone isn't a big deal. But when combined with other rare factors, it turns into something special. This is where things get interesting. On the back of the penny, take a close look at the words America. If the letters A and M are spaced farther apart than usual, you've hit the jackpot. This white AM error was supposed to be on proof coins only, but a few mistakenly ended up in circulation. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A 1998 no mint mark penny with the white AM error in near perfect condition, MS68 or higher, can go for big bucks at auction. If yours looks like it survived the apocalypse, it's still cool, but probably not a millionaire maker. And now, let's talk about that insane $1.8 million price tag. Why would anyone pay that much for a single penny? Only a handful of 1998 pennies with the white AM error exist, and collectors love rare finds. Think of it like a super exclusive sneaker drop, except instead of limited edition Jordans, it's a one-of-a-kind coin. The more rare a coin is, the more intense the bidding war. Wealthy collectors go all out for high-grade versions of these error coins, and when two or more determined buyers battle it out at auction, the price can skyrocket. The 1998 white AM error is a fascinating mistake in US minting history, making it a must-have for serious collectors. And when demand is high, prices explode. Alright, now that we've hyped up this coin, let's make sure you know how to spot one. Here's a quick step-by-step guide. It has to be a 1998 penny with NO mint mark. If there's a D, Denver, or S, San Francisco, sorry, that's not the one. Grab a magnifying glass and focus on the A and M in America. If they are touching or very close together, it's the common version. But if there's a wide gap between the A and M, you just hit the jackpot. If you think you have one, send it to PCGS or NGC, two of the top coin grading services. They'll certify its authenticity and grade its condition, which is crucial for determining value. Now, let me tell you about a guy named Kevin. Kevin was a regular dude, not some expert coin collector. One day, he was at a diner eating pancakes, because pancakes make everything better. When he got his change back, he almost threw the pennies into the tip jar without even looking. But at the last second, something made him pause. One of the pennies looked off. He didn't know much about coins, but he had seen a video, probably like this one, about the 1998 white AM penny. So he took it home, Googled some pictures, and sure enough, it was the real deal. Fast forward a few months, and after getting it graded, he sold it for over $1 million at auction. Imagine that, going from a $5 diner breakfast to a millionaire just because he took a second to check his change. Meanwhile, I'm over here still digging through my couch cushions and coming up empty. But hey, hope is alive. The 1998 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.8 million. It's proof that valuable coins are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. Next time you get change at the store, don't ignore those pennies. Check them carefully, because you never know, you might be sitting on a small fortune. And if you find something cool, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, it helps spread the word to more collectors. And if you want to learn more tips on valuable coins and how to turn pocket change into serious cash, hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin hunters. Hey, coin lovers! Imagine this: you're digging through your couch cushions, hoping to find a few spare coins for a vending machine snack. You pull out a handful of pennies and think, just some change. But wait. What if one of those pennies was actually worth $1.1 million? That's way too new to be worth anything. But here's the thing, there are some rare 2013 no mint mark Lincoln pennies out there that could change your life if you find one. So today, we're diving into everything you need to know about this valuable little coin. We'll talk about what makes it special, how to spot one, and why collectors are willing to pay over $1 million for it. Plus, I'll share a wild story about someone who almost threw away a fortune without even realizing it. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking your loose change like a detective. So, grab your pennies and let's get started. At first glance, the 2013 Lincoln penny looks like just another everyday coin. You've got Abraham Lincoln's famous profile on the front and the Union shield on the back. Nothing too crazy, right? Some of these pennies have rare errors and unique features that make them worth a fortune. Some 2013 pennies were struck twice by the minting press, creating a slightly doubled effect on Lincoln's face or the lettering. It's like Honest Abe had a little too much coffee and now he's seeing double. This happens when the coin isn't lined up properly in the press, leaving part of the design missing or shifted. Think of it like taking a bad selfie where half your face gets cut off. Some people delete those, but in the coin world, off-center strikes are highly valuable. Over time, the machines at the mint get worn down, leaving cracks or raised lines on the surface of some coins. These little imperfections can make a or even millions. Some 2013 pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal, making them much rarer than standard ones. If your penny feels different or weighs slightly more or less than usual, you might have something special. Okay, so why would anyone pay over $1 million for a penny? It all comes down to rarity and demand. No2 are exactly the same. The 2013 no mint mark penny is relatively new, so finding a rare error in perfect condition is incredibly hard. Collectors and auction houses love a good bidding war. Once word gets out that a rare coin is up for sale, prices can skyrocket. In one recent auction, a flawless 2013 no mint mark penny with a rare error was graded at MS70, which means it's in perfect condition, and sold for $1.1 million. That's enough to buy a house, a sports car, and still have enough left for a luxury vacation. The D, Denver, and P, Philadelphia, mint marks are common. But if your 2013 penny has no mint mark, you could be in luck. Look for any doubling, off-center designs, or strange bumps. If something seems unusual, don't ignore it. Standard 2013 pennies should weigh 2.5 grams. If yours is heavier or lighter, it could be a rare error. If your penny has raised bumps or lines in odd places, that's a good sign. If you think you've found a rare one, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to verify its value. A wild coin discovery story now. Let me tell you a crazy true story about a guy. Let's call him Mike. Mike was at a fast food drive-thru, and after paying for his meal, he got some change back. Being the coin nerd that he was, he quickly glanced at the pennies before tossing them in his car's cup holder. One of them looked a little off. Later that night, he pulled out the penny and checked it under a bright light. The design seemed slightly doubled, and it was missing a mint mark. His heart started racing. Could this be one of the rare ones? He sent it to PCGS for grading, and after a few weeks, the results came back. It was an MS69 double die error 2013 penny. A collector ended up buying it for nearly $1 million. Mike literally bought a burger and fries, and in return, got $1 million penny. Meanwhile, I'm still over here finding lint and old gum wrappers in my cup holder. Alright, folks, that's the story of the 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.1 million. This proves that valuable coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight. So, next time you get some change, don't just toss it aside. One of those pennies could be worth a fortune. And if you do find something rare, drop a comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear about it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It helps more people discover the hidden value in their coins. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on coin collecting, valuable pennies, and how to turn your spare change into serious cash. Hey there, coin hunters and curious minds. Imagine this: you're digging through your pocket change, probably looking for a quarter to feed a parking meter or buy a pack of gum, when you come across a simple 1995 penny. You shrug, toss it aside, and keep looking. But hold up, what if I told you that one of these ordinary-looking 1995 pennies could actually be worth $1.2 million? Yeah, you heard that right. $1.2 million. For a single penny. Now, I don't know about you, but I suddenly feel like going through every penny I've ever ignored. Imagine all the laundry money we've let slip through our fingers. Today, we're talking about the 1995 no mint mark Lincoln penny, why it's worth a fortune, how to spot one, and what you should do if you find one in your loose change. Stick around, because I'll also be sharing a wild story about someone who literally found one in their junk drawer, and let's just say, their reaction was priceless. Spoiler alert, it involves screaming, running, and maybe a little bit of crying. So grab a magnifying glass, dig through that couch cushion, and let's get into it. The 1995 Lincoln penny was part of the standard U.S. mint production, meaning billions of them were made. But here's the kicker: some of these pennies have a rare error that makes them extremely valuable. Well, kind of. This isn't just any mistake, it's a double die obverse (DDO) error. Sounds fancy, right? Here's what that means: a double die error happens during the minting process when the design gets accidentally struck twice, causing a slight overlapping effect. On the 1995 penny, you'll notice doubling on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. It's subtle, but it's there, and that's what makes this penny a gold mine. Not all 1995 pennies have this error, so don't get too excited just yet, but don't lose hope either. Alright, let's get to the million-dollar question, literally. Why would anyone spend over $1 million on a penny? Here's why collectors go nuts over this one. Out of the billions of 1995 pennies made, only a tiny fraction have the double die error. It's like finding a four-leaf clover. If that clover was worth more than a mansion. If a 1995 DDO penny is in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded as its value skyrockets. The highest graded ones have sold at auctions for ridiculous amounts. Coin collectors love unique and rare errors. The 1995 double die penny is one of the most famous and sought-after error coins of modern times. How to check if you have one now? I know what you're thinking. How do I check if my 1995 penny is the jackpot? Good news, checking is super easy. Here's what to do: look for 1995 on the front of the penny. If it has a D or S mint mark, located under the date, it's not the one we're looking for. We need a no mint mark version. Do the letters appear slightly doubled or blurry? If so, bingo, some doubling is super obvious, but others are more subtle. A magnifying tool can help spot the details. Search for images of the 1995 double die error penny and compare yours. If it looks similar, you might be holding a fortune in your hand. Alright, time for a wild true story. Let's call him Mike. Mike wasn't a coin collector. He was just an average guy who liked to keep his loose change in a jar. One day, while digging through it for quarters, he pulled out a 1995 penny that looked off. The letters were kind of blurry, and something told him to check it out. He Googles it. As one does when they suspect they might be rich. He realizes it might be a 1995 double die penny, so he takes it to a coin shop, and the expert's eyes go wide. Mike sends it off to PCGS for grading, and guess what? It comes back as an MS68 DDO, one of the highest graded versions ever found. A few months later, it sells at auction for over $1 million, and just like that, Mike went from searching for gas station snack money to buying a brand new house, all because he took a second look at his penny. Meanwhile, I've been checking every penny I find, and the best thing I've discovered so far is a piece of gum from 2003. Seriously, don't just toss those pennies aside. The next time you get a 1995 penny, take a good look at it. You never know, it could be worth $1.20 million. Get it authenticated. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, and who knows, you might be sitting on a life-changing payday. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It helps more people learn about valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on finding rare coins, making money from your change, and strategies to turn everyday pocket change into serious cash. Hey everyone! Have you ever found a penny on the ground and thought, not worth bending down for? Well, what if I told you that one specific penny from 2005 with no mint mark is worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million? Yeah, that's right, $1.3 million. That's enough to buy a house, a sports car, and still have some change left over for a celebratory pizza. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is a penny worth that much? That's exactly what we're going to uncover today. We'll talk about what makes the 2005 no mint mark Lincoln penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are willing to pay life-changing money for it. Stick around because at the end of this video, I'll share a crazy true story about someone who actually found one of these valuable pennies in the most unexpected place. Spoiler alert, it was not me, but I wish it was. Okay, let's break it down. The 2005 Lincoln penny looks like every other modern penny. Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Pretty standard, right? Well, here's where things get interesting. Some 2005 pennies without a mint mark have minting errors and unique features that make them insanely valuable to collectors. This is when the coin is struck twice, causing Lincoln's face, the letters, or numbers to appear slightly duplicated. It's like Honest Abe had a bit too much coffee and is now seeing double. Some pennies were struck improperly, making the design look misaligned or even missing part of Lincoln's face. It's kind of like taking a selfie and cutting off half your head, except this mistake is worth big money. Over time, the dies used to stamp coins wear down, causing raised lines or cracks on the penny. Some collectors believe these imperfections tell a story, making them highly desirable. Some 2005 pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal. If your penny looks a little too shiny or feels different, you might be holding onto a rare variety. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so there are some errors, but why the crazy price tag? Well, in the world of coin collecting, value comes from rarity, condition, and demand. Out of all the 2005 no-mint mark pennies, only a tiny fraction have these special error features. Finding one is like hitting the jackpot at a vending machine. High-grade versions are nearly impossible. To the most valuable 2005 pennies are those graded as MS-70, which means they are no scratches, no marks, just pure perfection. If you find one in mint condition, you're looking at a serious payday. Coin auctions are wild. Once word gets out that a rare penny is up for sale, wealthy collectors and investors start bidding like it's Black Friday at a department store. That's how these coins reach insane prices like $1.30 million. Now that you're probably itching to check your piggy bank, here's what to do. This means the penny was made at the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't put a mint mark on its coins. If your 2005 penny has a D or S on it, sorry, it's not the jackpot we're after. Use a bright light and a magnifying glass to inspect Lincoln's face, the lettering, and the edges. If anything looks weird or doubled, you might have something special. Some error pennies were struck on the wrong metal, so if it feels heavier or lighter than a normal penny, it could be rare. A regular penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. If you think you have a rare penny, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication. These grading companies determine the value, and if you have a high-grade error coin, you could be looking at a life-changing payday. And now, let me tell you about a real-life lucky penny story who was at a laundromat, of all places. He was digging through his pocket for quarters when he pulled out a penny that looked kind of off. Instead of tossing it aside, he took it home, looked it up, and realized he had a rare double die error. He sent it off to be graded, and a few months later, it sold at auction for over $1 million. Imagine that, you're just trying to wash your socks, and suddenly, you discover $1 million penny in your pocket. Meanwhile, I've checked every penny I've ever found, and the most exciting thing I've come across is, well, more pennies. Alright, folks, that's the crazy world of the 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.30 million. Valuable coins are still out there. They're hiding in your pocket change, in your piggy banks, even under your couch cushions. So next time you get a handful of coins, don't ignore those pennies. One of them might just change your life. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It helps more people discover valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on coin collecting, strategies for finding rare coins, and, of course, more stories about people striking it rich with pocket change. Alright, let's start with a question. How often do you actually look at your pennies? Be honest. Do you toss them in a jar, leave them in your car's cup holder, or, if you're like me, find them mysteriously multiplying in your couch cushions? Well, today, I'm about to change the way you see those little copper coins forever. Because one ordinary-looking 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.40 million. Yes, you heard that right, 1 cent, worth over $1 million. Imagine finding one in your pocket, thinking it's just another penny, and then realizing you could trade it in for a brand new house, a luxury vacation, and maybe even a pet giraffe. If that's your thing, stick around because I'm going to break down why this penny is so valuable, how to spot one, and what you should do if you're lucky enough to find one. Plus, I'll share a personal story about how I almost threw away a valuable coin. True story, and it still haunts me. So, let's get into it. Grab a magnifying glass, check your piggy bank, and let's hunt for treasure. At first glance, the 1988 Lincoln penny looks like any other penny you've probably ignored 1,000 times. It has the classic Abraham Lincoln portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the kicker: certain 1988 pennies, specifically the ones with no mint mark, have something special that makes them ultra valuable. And now, normally, a penny from Philadelphia would have no mint mark. That's standard. But what makes this one special? It's all about a tiny, nearly invisible mistake made at the US Mint. There's one major reason why some 1988 no mint mark pennies are worth insane amounts of money. They were struck using a 1989 obverse die by mistake, the US Mint was getting ready for the 1989 penny, and a few of the dies, those are the metal stamps that press the coin's design, accidentally got mixed in and used in late 1988. The difference is almost invisible to the naked eye, but collectors and experts can spot it. This mix-up created a variety of the 1988 no-mint mark penny that's extremely rare, and coin collectors will pay huge money to get their hands on one. Now, before you start flipping over every penny you find, let me give you a few key details to look for. The valuable version of this penny must not have a mint mark under the date. If you see a D, Denver, or an S, San Francisco, it's not the jackpot coin. Flip the penny over and look at the designer's initials, FG, Frank Gasparo, next to the Lincoln Memorial. On the rare variety, the G has a more curved tail. This is the big giveaway that it was struck with the wrong die. The spacing of the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" is slightly different on the rare variety. If you think you might have one, congratulations. You might be holding $1 million penny. So, why is someone willing to pay more for this penny than most people pay for a mansion? This mistake happened on very few pennies, and most have already been snatched up by collectors. Once a rare coin hits an auction, wealthy collectors bid like crazy to get their hands on it. It's like eBay, but instead of sneakers, it's historical currency. If your penny is in mint state, MS65 or higher, that's when it gets into the $1 million range. Even a lower graded one could still be worth thousands. If you've got a penny that looks promising, here's what you need to do next. Cleaning a rare coin ruins its value. Just handle it carefully and keep it in a safe place. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will examine, grade, and certify its authenticity. If you do have the rare variety, the best way to sell it for maximum profit is through a reputable auction house. Learn from my mistake, alright. Now for my personal story, one that still haunts me to this day. A few years ago, I was going through my change, just casually looking at some old pennies. I remember spotting a weird-looking one from the 1980s, but at the time, I wasn't really into coin collecting. So what did I do? Yup. You heard that right. I basically gave away a potentially valuable coin for a snack. Fast forward to today. Now that I know about rare pennies, I think back to that moment every time I hear about someone finding a rare penny worth big money. So, take it from me, always check your change before you spend it. Alright, folks, that wraps up today's deep dive into the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.4 million. Who knew a tiny, everyday coin could be worth life-changing money? So, before you ignore that little copper coin sitting in your car's cup holder, take a second look. It just might be the most valuable thing you've ever owned. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, it really helps the channel grow. And if you want more tips on valuable coins, rare finds, and how to turn pocket change into serious cash, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Hey, coin lovers and treasure hunters! Imagine this: you're digging through some spare change, maybe looking for an extra quarter for a vending machine snack, when you pull out an ordinary-looking penny. You think, just another 1-cent coin. But what if I told you that this penny, yes, a 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, could be worth a life-changing $1.5 million? That's right, folks, a single penny that could turn your pocket change into a luxury vacation, a dream car, or even a house. Now, before you go flipping over your couch cushions in a frenzy, stick with me because today, we're diving into everything you need to know about this valuable 1989 no-mint mark penny. We'll cover what makes it so special, how to spot one, and why collectors are willing to pay an insane amount of money for it. Plus, I'll share a crazy true story about someone who almost spent one of these rare pennies before realizing its worth. Talk about a close call, so grab a magnifying glass, check your pockets, and let's find out if you've been walking around with $1 million penny all along. At first glance, the 1989 penny doesn't seem that exciting. It has the usual design, Abraham Lincoln's face on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's where some of these pennies were accidentally struck without a mint mark and have unique errors that make them rare and valuable. Normally, in 1989, pennies were produced at 3 U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. But a rare batch of 1989 pennies was mistruck at the Philadelphia Mint, leading to some key errors that collectors are desperate to find. Some 1989 pennies have doubling on the lettering and Lincoln's features. If you notice the words Liberty or In God We Trust looking a little blurry or doubled, bingo, you might be holding a winner. Some pennies were stamped slightly off, making part of the design look cut off or misaligned. It's like when you try to take a group photo, and your friend's head gets half cropped out. Over time, minting equipment wears down, leading to raised bumps or lines on coins. If your 1989 penny has what looks like a tiny scar, it might be an error coin. Some rare 1989 pennies were mistakenly struck on foreign planchets or even nickel blanks, giving them a different color and weight. If your penny looks off, get it checked. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone pay $1.5 million for a penny? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. The fewer error coins there are, the higher the value. Collectors are obsessed with unique coins, especially modern ones that aren't supposed to be rare. Coin auctions can turn into bidding wars, with people throwing huge amounts of money at a single coin. A perfectly preserved 1989 no-mint mark penny, graded MS-70, meaning flawless, is almost impossible to find, making it worth a fortune. One of the highest sales for a rare 1989 no-mint mark penny was at an auction, where it shattered records by selling for $1.5 million. Imagine finding a penny in your change and realizing it's worth more than a Ferrari, a mansion, and a lifetime supply of pizza combined. Alright, now that you know the insane value of this penny, here's how to check if you have one. Check under the year 1989 on the front of the penny. If there's no D or S, you might have a Philadelphia mint penny. But wait. That alone doesn't make it valuable, it's the errors that matter. Use a magnifying glass and check for doubling, off-center strikes, or raised bumps. If something looks odd, it could be valuable. A normal 1989 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. If yours is significantly heavier or lighter, it may have been struck on the wrong planchet. The better the condition, the higher the value. A worn-out penny won't sell for much, but an uncirculated, near-perfect one could be worth millions. If you think your penny is special, send it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC for an official evaluation. If it's a rare error, congratulations, you just hit the jackpot. Alright, let me tell you about someone who almost spent a valuable 1989 no-mint mark penny without realizing it. Was grabbing coffee one morning. He paid in cash and got some pennies back. Normally, he wouldn't think twice about them, but he noticed one penny looked a little off. Instead of tossing it in a tip jar, he pocketed it and later checked it out under better lighting. Turns out, it had a double die error. Mike sent it off for grading, and a few months later, it sold at an auction for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the best part? He almost gave it away for a 50-cent discount on his latte. Moral of the story? Check your change, people. The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that could be worth $1.5 million. Who knew something as small as a penny could hold such a massive fortune? If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, it helps more people learn about valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe for more insider tips on rare coins, collecting strategies, and how to turn spare change into serious money. Got a cool coin story? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear if you've ever found a rare coin in the wild. Alright, be honest, how often do you actually stop to look at your pennies? Probably never, right? You toss them in a jar, let them rattle around in your car's cup holder, or, if you're like me, you find them in the laundry and wonder if they magically multiply in your pockets. But what if I told you that one of those little copper coins could be worth $1.6 million? Yes, you heard that right, $1.6 million for a 2017 D Lincoln penny. That's the kind of money that can buy you a dream house, a couple of fancy sports cars, and still leave you enough to order avocado toast without worrying about your bank account. Today, we're diving deep into what makes this 2017 D penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are going absolutely nuts over it. Oh, and stick around, because I'll be sharing a crazy story about someone who actually found a rare coin in the most unexpected way. Let's just say it involves a gas station and an almost tragic decision. So, grab your loose change, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. At first glance, the 2017 D penny looks just like any other modern coin. You've got Abraham Lincoln's familiar face on the front, the Union shield on the back, and the tiny D mint mark under the year, signifying it was minted in Denver. Certain 2017 D pennies have errors and rare characteristics that make them extremely valuable. These aren't your run-of-the-mill pocket change pennies. These are the kind of coins that can turn a regular day into a millionaire moment. This means Lincoln's image or the lettering looks slightly double because of a misalignment during the minting process. It's like Honest Abe is wearing 3D glasses and seeing double. Some 2017 D pennies were struck improperly, with parts of the design missing or shifted to the side. It's like taking a selfie and only getting half your face in the shot. These occur when the coin die gets old and worn out, causing raised bumps, cracks, or unusual lines on the penny. Some of these errors look like Lincoln has a lightning bolt across his face. Pretty cool if you ask me. A few of these pennies were accidentally stamped on the wrong type of metal, making them weigh differently than normal. If your 2017 D penny feels off, it could be worth checking. Why is this penny worth $1.60 million? Now, you might be wondering, well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. When something is rare and collectors want it, the price goes through the roof. Error coins are one of a kind, and some collectors will pay ridiculous amounts to own the best examples. If you find a 2017 D penny in near perfect, uncirculated condition, graded as MS-70, it can skyrocket in value. Once a valuable coin hits the market, wealthy collectors battle it out, driving the price higher than anyone expects. The highest recorded auction for one of these ultra-rare 2017 D pennies? A jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Imagine turning a 1-cent coin into that kind of money. It's like winning the lottery, except your ticket is sitting in your pocket right now. At this point, I know you're itching to check your pennies, so here's exactly how to do it and make sure it's from the Denver Mint, marked by a tiny D under the year 2017. Hold it under a bright light and look for doubling, misalignment, or weird raised bumps. If something looks strange, get it checked. Some rare errors were struck on the wrong metal, so using a digital scale to weigh your penny can help you determine if you've got something special. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop. Some details are super tiny, so having a magnifying tool can help spot small but valuable errors. If you think you found a valuable 2017 D penny, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC to determine its true worth. Alright, let me tell you a true story that'll blow your mind. There's this guy, let's call him Mike. Mike was at a gas station, buying some snacks. He paid in cash, got some change back, and like most of us, almost tossed the pennies aside without thinking twice, but something about one of them caught his eye. It looked a little weird, so he put it in his pocket and went home. Later that night, he randomly decided to Google rare 2017 D pennies, and guess what? He had a double die error. He sent it off to get graded, and a few months later, boom, it sold at auction for over $1 million, all from a gas station penny. I bet Mike has never looked at spare change the same way again. Meanwhile, I check every penny I touch like a detective, and the best thing I found is a 1995 penny with some pocket lint stuck to it. The 2017 D Lincoln penny that could change your life. It's proof that rare coins are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. Next time you get a handful of change, don't ignore those pennies. One of them could literally be worth a fortune. And if you do find something interesting, drop a comment and let me know. I love hearing about crazy coin finds. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button. It helps more people discover hidden treasures in their spare change. And don't forget to subscribe for more coin collecting tips, valuable finds, and strategies to turn small change into serious cash. Alright, picture this. You're at a drive-thru, you pay for your meal, get some change back, and you're about to toss those pennies into the cup holder, never to be seen again. But wait, what if one of those pennies was worth $1.70 million? Yeah, you heard that right. $1.7 million. For a single 2018 D Lincoln penny. Suddenly, those little copper coins don't seem so worthless, do they? Now, before you go sprinting to check under your couch cushions, stick with me. Today, we're going to break down why this penny is so valuable, how to spot one, and how to turn your spare change into a life-changing payday. Plus, I'll share a hilarious story about the time I thought I found a rare penny, only to be completely, utterly wrong. So, grab your coin jars, get comfortable, and let's dive into the fascinating world of valuable pennies. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny from 2018. What's the big deal? Well, my friend, not all pennies are created equal. The 2018 D penny was minted in Denver, which is what the little d below the year stands for. But not every 2018 D penny is worth millions, only the ones with specific errors or rare characteristics. Here's what makes certain 2018 D pennies so valuable. This is when Lincoln's face or the lettering looks slightly doubled. Think of it like a blurry photo. It's an accident, but collectors love it. If the design looks like it's shifted to one side, cha-ching. These off-center strikes happen when the coin isn't properly aligned during minting. Ever seen a penny with a weird raised line or blob? That's a die crack or cud, and it can add big bucks to a coin's value. Some of these pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal, making them rare and extremely valuable. Those with the biggest and most dramatic errors have fetched up to $1.7 million at auction. That's not just a fancy vacation, that's early retirement money. Well, it all comes down to three things: rarity, condition, and collector demand. If only a handful of these rare pennies exist, collectors go wild trying to get their hands on one. The highest graded pennies, like an MS-70, meaning perfect condition, are the ones that bring in the biggest bucks. Collector wars. Once a rare coin hits the auction block, rich collectors start bidding like it's Black Friday, and the price skyrockets. It's like the Beanie Baby craze of the 90s, but instead of stuffed animals, it's real historical treasure. How to find one in your spare change. Now, let's get to the good stuff: how you can find one of these pennies. Because let's be honest, the idea of stumbling upon $1 million penny is way more exciting than checking your bank account on a Monday morning. If there's no D under the year, it's from a different mint and not the one we're after. Examine your penny closely. If anything looks weird, extra lines, misalignment, bumps, it's worth a second look. Some errors are tiny, so a magnifying glass or coin loupe can help you spot them. Some error pennies were struck on the wrong type of metal, so if your penny feels too heavy or too light, you might have something special. If you think you found a rare one, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm if it's the real deal. A relatable penny hunting story. Okay, so let me tell you about the time I thought I hit the jackpot. A while back, I was at a flea market, and I bought a bag of old coins from a guy who looked like he might have been in the business since the Roman Empire. I take the bag home, start sifting through the pennies, and boom, I find a 2018 D penny with what looks like a doubling error. My mind was already planning how I'd spend my future fortune. Maybe a beach house? Maybe a lifetime supply of tacos? The possibilities were endless. I rushed to get it appraised, only for the expert to take one look and say, "Nah, this is just a regular penny with a little wear and tear." Crushed. Absolutely devastated. But hey, lesson learned. I kept looking. And now, I check every single penny I touch. Because you never know when you'll find the real deal. If you take away one thing from this video, it's this: check your change. Seriously, that little piece of copper in your pocket might just be the key to a life-changing payday. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. It helps more people learn about valuable coins. And if you want more tips, more strategies, and more wild coin stories, subscribe to the channel, because trust me, you do not want to miss out on the next rare penny that could make you a millionaire. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, tell me the truth: how often do you actually stop and look at your pennies? Probably never, right? They're just those little copper-colored coins that pile up in your car cup holder, get lost in the washing machine, or sit at the bottom of your purse for who knows how long. Well, what if I told you that one of those boring pennies could actually be worth $1.8 million? Yep, a single 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has sold for that mind-blowing amount, and there could be more out there, just waiting to be discovered. How does a penny, a coin literally worth 1 cent, turn into a life-changing payday? That's exactly what we're going to dive into today. We'll break down what makes this penny so special, how you can identify one, and how an everyday person, just like you, found one in their spare change. And stick around until the end, because I'll be sharing a personal story about how I almost ignored a valuable coin and what that mistake taught me. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Alright, grab your penny jar, get comfy, and let's talk about this $1 million coin mystery. At first glance, the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny looks like any other penny you'd find in your pocket. But trust me, this little coin has a big secret. Back in 1982, the US Mint was switching from 95% copper pennies to a new composition made of zinc with a thin copper coating. This change meant that some coins were struck with errors and rare variations, and that's where things get interesting. Most pennies from 1982 were made of zinc, but a few slipped through in copper. And if you find one of these rare copper versions without a mint mark? Jackpot. Copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams, while the zinc ones weigh 2.5 grams. This tiny weight difference is actually a huge deal in the coin world. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia didn't have a mint mark back then, but these rare copper versions were not supposed to exist, which is why collectors go crazy over them. Here's a step-by-step guide to checking your pennies like a pro. The first thing you need to check is that it's a 1982 penny with no mint mark under the year. If it has a D or an S, it's not the one we're looking for. This is the big one. Grab a digital scale and check the weight. If your 1982 penny weighs 3.11 grams, it's a copper version. If it's 2.5 grams, it's a common zinc penny. Some of these rare pennies also have small doubling or die cracks that increase their value even more. A magnifying glass or coin loop will help you spot any extra details. If you think you found one, don't just toss it back in your coin jar. Send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC to confirm its authenticity. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, cool, it's rare, but why would someone pay almost $2 million for a single penny? There are only a handful of these pennies known to exist, which makes them extremely valuable to collectors. When a rare coin hits the market, collectors and investors compete to own it. That's how prices skyrocket. If you find one in pristine condition, MS67 or higher, its value goes up even more. One of these pennies sold at auction for $1.8 million, and others have gone for six figures. A lucky find in spare change. Now, let me tell you a story that might make you want to dump out every coin jar in your house right now. Was sorting through his loose change one night, just looking for quarters for the vending machine. As he picked up a 1982 penny, something felt off. It was heavier than the others. Curious, he weighed it on a digital scale, and it came in at 3.11 grams. Bingo. He sent it off to be graded, and when it came back, he found out it was one of the rare 1982 no-mint mark copper pennies. At an auction a few months later, his little 1-cent coin sold for over $1 million. Imagine that. One moment, you're looking for vending machine change, and the next, you're a millionaire. That's why checking your change is so important. Alright, folks, that's the wild world of the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.8 million. This is proof that valuable coins are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. Go check your pennies. Look through your spare change, old piggy banks, or that cup of coins in your car. You never know what you might find, and if you do find something cool, drop a comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear your stories. Before you go, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin hunting tips, valuable coin breakdowns, and ways to turn pocket change into serious cash. Alright, tell me the truth, how often do you actually look at your pennies? I mean, really examine them? Probably not often, right? Well, after today, you're going to be checking every single one because one little 1988 Lincoln penny, yes, a simple, everyday penny, has sold for a whopping $1.1 million. No way. Oh, way. And the best part? There could be more of them floating around in spare change, coin jars, or even under your car seat right now. Imagine paying for your morning coffee and accidentally handing the barista a $1 million coin. I'd see your wide-out eye in today's video. We're going to break down exactly what makes this 1988 penny so valuable, how to spot one in your change, and why collectors are shelling out life-changing amounts of money for it. And if you think I've found one yet? Nope, still looking. But I did find an old grocery receipt from 2010 under my couch, so that's something. Alright, let's dive in before another priceless penny slips through our fingers. On the surface, the 1988 Lincoln penny looks just like every other modern penny. It's got Honest Abe's face on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and the tiny D mint mark below the year, showing it was minted in Denver. Nothing crazy, right? But here's where things get interesting. Some of these pennies have rare minting errors and unique features that make them incredibly valuable. These aren't your everyday pennies. These are hidden gems that collectors will pay a fortune for. Key features that make it worth $1.1 million. Wrong mint mark punch, transitional error, this is the big one. Some 1988 pennies were mistakenly struck with a 1989 style obverse die, meaning they have subtle design differences that shouldn't be on a 1988 coin. It's like sending a 1980s kid to school with an iPhone, something's just not right. Some 1988 pennies show doubling on the letters, numbers, or even Lincoln's profile. If your penny looks a little blurry or like Lincoln had too much, it could be worth a small fortune. Not if the design is noticeably shifted or missing part of the lettering. Bingo, you've got a rare error coin. These mistakes happen when the coin blank isn't properly aligned during the minting process. Collectors love them because they stand out. If your penny has a raised bump, line, or scar on the surface, it could be a die break error, adding even more value. Think of it as a birthmark that makes the coin unique and desirable. The transitional error on the 1988 penny is extremely rare, meaning only a handful of them exist. Numismatists, fancy word for coin collectors, are obsessed with minting mistakes. The weirder the error, the more they want it. The most valuable ones are in MS68 or MS69, meaning they're basically flawless. If your penny looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, it's probably not the jackpot, but still worth checking. One of these rare 1988 D pennies, in near perfect condition, sold for over $1.1 million at auction. That's more than the price of some houses. Just imagine someone finding one, sending it off to get graded, and suddenly being a millionaire all because of a penny. I'd be screaming. Now, I know you're itching to dig through your coin jar, so here's exactly what to do. It's right below the year 1988. If there's no mint mark, it's from not what we're after today. Use a magnifying glass or coin loupe to look for doubling, misalignment, or anything that looks off. If your 1988 D penny looks more like a 1989 design, you might have the rare error. Some error coins have slight weight differences, so if it feels off, that's a good sign. If you think you have a winner, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. A high-grade rare penny can change your life, alright? So let me tell you about my friend Mike. This guy was not a coin collector. Didn't care about pennies at all. But one day, he found a weird-looking penny on his nightstand and, for some reason, decided to Google it. Turns out, it was a 1988 D penny with a transitional error. He sent it off for grading, and guess what? It was legit and sold at auction for over $1 million. Meanwhile, I've been searching for rare coins for years and still haven't hit the jackpot. Mike just casually stumbled into life-changing money. Unbelievable. Alright, folks, that's the scoop on the 1988 D Lincoln penny worth $1.1 million. Who would have thought a little copper coin from your pocket could be worth that much? Because one of those pennies could literally be your ticket to financial freedom. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. It helps more people discover valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe because I'm bringing you more tips on rare coins, hidden treasures, and ways to turn your spare change into serious cash. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and casual pocket change checkers. Let me ask you a question. How often do you actually look at your pennies? Be honest. Most of us just toss them into a jar, leave them at the bottom of our bags, or, if you're like me, find them in the car cup holder covered in old coffee stains. But what if I told you that one of those boring pennies, specifically a 1976 no mint mark Lincoln penny, could be worth $1.2 million? Yep, that's $1.2 million for a single penny. Now, imagine you've had one of these rare coins sitting in your couch cushions this whole time. You could have been a millionaire instead of scrounging for gas money. Today, we're diving into the story of this incredibly valuable penny, why it's worth so much, and how you can check your own change to see if you've been sitting on a hidden treasure. Oh, and stick around because I'll be sharing a crazy story about a guy who actually found one of these bad boys in his grandma's old jar of coins. Spoiler alert, Grandma is now his favorite person. So grab your pennies, grab a magnifying glass, and let's crack open this mystery. Alright, so let's start with the basics. The 1976 penny was just another year in the long-running Lincoln penny series. Most of these were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Denver and San Francisco pennies have a small D or S mint mark just below the year and now. Normally, pennies from Philadelphia don't have a mint mark. That's not unusual. But here's the kicker, some of these 1976 pennies had serious errors that made them incredibly rare. And when something is rare in the coin world, collectors start throwing money at it like it's the last snack at a vending machine. So, why would someone pay over $1 million for a penny? It's all about errors, misprints, and unique features. Here's what to look for. This is when Lincoln's features, especially his face or the words, "In God We Trust," look slightly doubled. It's like Honest Abe had a little too much caffeine and is seeing double. Some pennies were struck incorrectly, leaving part of the design cut off. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable it is. Think of it as the factory defect that collectors drool over. This one is crazy. Some 1976 pennies were accidentally struck using the wrong metal composition, making them lighter or heavier than normal pennies. If your penny feels off when you hold it, it might just be one of these ultra-rare coins. Over time, the dies used to stamp pennies wear down, creating small cracks or raised bumps. Some of these errors form odd shapes, and collectors love them because they make each penny unique. Okay, here's where things get insane. A rare 1976 no mint mark penny with a doubled die error was put up for auction a few years ago. Experts confirmed its authenticity, graded it as nearly flawless, and coin collectors went wild. The final auction price? $1.20 million. That's right, someone traded a single penny for a mansion, a luxury car, and probably a lifetime supply of tacos. So, before you start frantically dumping out every coin jar in your house, here's what you need to do: look for a 1976 penny with no mint mark. If it has a DRS, it's from Denver or San Francisco, and while it might still be worth money, it's not the $1 million jackpot. Grab a magnifying glass or a coin loupe and examine the details. Does Lincoln's face look doubled? Are any letters thick or blurry? Does the coin look off-center? A standard 1976 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, it might be a rare transitional error coin. If you think you have something special, don't just list it on eBay for $5. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm its authenticity and grade it for auction. Now, let me tell you about a guy who actually found one of these pennies. Let's call him Mike. Mike was helping his grandma clean out her attic when he found an old jar of pennies from the 70s. Being a casual coin collector, he decided to go through them, just for fun. As he sorted through the pennies, one caught his eye. It was a 1976 penny with no mint mark. But it looked weird. Mike pulled out his magnifying glass and noticed a double die error on Lincoln's face. Excited but skeptical, he decided to send it in for grading. A few months later, it was confirmed as an ultra-rare variety. And guess what? When it went to auction, it sold for over $1 million. So yeah, Grandma's old penny jar literally made him a millionaire. Now, she's probably expecting a very nice Christmas present from him. Alright, folks, that's the story of the 1976 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.2 million. If you've ever ignored pennies before, this should change your mind. That little copper coin in your pocket could be the key to an early retirement. Start checking your change. Dig through old jars, check your piggy banks, and if you find a 1976 penny with no mint mark, examine it carefully. You never know, you might just have the next $1 million coin. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps more people discover these hidden treasures. And subscribe for more tips on valuable coins, rare finds, and money-making strategies. Alright, listen up, my fellow coin hunters. What if I told you that a little copper penny from 1979, something you might have tossed into a vending machine or left in your couch cushions, could actually be worth $1.3 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single 1979 Lincoln penny could make you a millionaire overnight. I know what you're thinking. Nah, no way. A 1979 penny? I've seen a bunch of those. And you probably have. But here's the kicker: some of these pennies have rare mint errors and high-grade conditions that make them insanely valuable. That's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to break down everything you need to know: what makes this penny special, how to spot one, and why collectors are throwing down crazy amounts of cash for it. And stick around till the end, because I'm going to tell you a wild story about how I almost found one, but, spoiler alert, my luck is about as good as a scratched-up lottery ticket. So grab your piggy bank, raid your change jar, and let's get to it. Okay, so what's so special about the 1979 Lincoln penny? Why would anyone pay $1.3 million for something most people ignore on the sidewalk? Well, here's the deal. Most 1979 pennies are pretty common, but a few rare ones stand out because of minting errors, high-grade conditions, or unique variations. These factors skyrocket their value at auctions. The three biggest reasons a 1979 penny could be worth serious money. Some 1979 pennies were struck with serious mistakes, and collectors go crazy for these. Here are some of the top errors to look for. This happens when the coin is struck twice, causing the letters or Lincoln's profile to appear doubled. If Abe Lincoln looks like he's had one too many espressos and is seeing double, you might have a winner. If your penny looks like the design was printed at an angle or is missing part of the image, it could be valuable. Think of it like a mistakes can make things rare. Some pennies show the D mint mark stamped more than once. If it looks like the Denver Mint had second thoughts, that's a good sign. The more flawless your penny is, the more valuable it becomes. If you have a 1979 penny that looks fresh out of the mint, no scratches, no wear, still shiny, then it could be worth thousands, or even millions. A few 1979 pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal. If your penny has an unusual color or weight, it might be a rare one-of-a-kind mistake. Okay, so why is this specific penny fetching a crazy $1.3 million price tag? The short answer: rarity and demand. Collectors are always on the lookout for one-of-a-kind coins. If a penny has a major error, high-grade condition, or a unique feature, it drives up the price at auctions. The highest recorded sale for a 1979 D penny was a mind-blowing $1.3 million, thanks to its perfect condition and rare doubling error. Think about it. One lucky person cashed in on a single penny and walked away with life-changing money. Imagine how many people probably had a rare 1979 D penny in their hands at some point but never realized it. Don't be that person. Check your change. How to find one in your pocket change now. This is where things get fun. You don't need to be a millionaire to start looking for rare coins. You just need patience, good lighting, and maybe a magnifying glass if your eyesight is like mine after binge-watching Netflix for too long. Here's how you can hunt for the 1979 D Lincoln penny worth big bucks. The D means it was made at the Denver Mint. If there's no mint mark, it's from Philadelphia, not as rare, but still worth checking. Hold it under a light and check for doubled letters, mint mark mistakes, or off-center designs. If something looks weird, you might have a jackpot. The standard 1979 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If yours is significantly different, it could be a rare off-metal strike. If you think your penny looks valuable, send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. They'll tell you exactly how much it's worth. My almost $1 million find. Alright, now let me tell you about the time I thought I struck gold with a 1979 D penny. So, I was at a flea market, digging through a giant jar of old coins that some guy was selling for cheap. I spot a shiny 1979 D penny and, for a split second, my heart skipped a beat. Could this be the one? I whip out my phone, do a quick search, and start examining the coin like a detective looking for clues. People around me probably thought I was losing my mind. It was just a regular penny. Worth exactly 1 cent. Not every penny is a jackpot, but you'll never know unless you check. Alright, folks, that's the story of the 1979 D Lincoln penny worth $1.3 million. This little coin proves that history, rarity, and a little luck can turn pocket change into life-changing money. Start checking your pennies. You never know when you might stumble upon a $1 million treasure hiding in your spare change. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, it really helps. And if you want to learn more about valuable coins, collecting strategies, and hidden treasures, don't forget to subscribe. I've got tons of great videos coming your way, and who knows? Your next rare coin find could be your biggest payday yet. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and curious minds. Have you ever picked up a penny, looked at it, and thought, this thing isn't even worth bending over for? Well, what if I told you that one little penny, specifically, the 1960 D Lincoln penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million? That's right, a coin that most people wouldn't even glance at could actually make you a millionaire. There's no way a penny is worth that much. But trust me, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and today, I'm going to show you exactly why this little copper beauty is turning heads at auctions. We'll go over what makes this penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are willing to pay insane amounts for it. Plus, I've got a wild story about a guy who found one in the most unexpected place. Seriously, you won't believe where. So, if you've ever dreamt of finding hidden treasure in your pocket, grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's dive into the fascinating world of the 1960 D Lincoln penny. At first glance, the 1960 D penny looks like every other penny from the era. It's got Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But what makes this particular penny special? The U.S. Mint made two versions of the 1960 penny. The numbers and the date were printed slightly differently, with a small date version and a large date version. The small date is rarer and more valuable. If you're squinting at a penny right now, you're already a true coin detective. Some 1960 D pennies have serious mistakes, and that's where the big money comes in. Look out for, this happens when the coin is struck twice, creating a slight shadow or double image, especially in the date or lettering. Think of it as Lincoln's ghost making a surprise appearance. Some pennies have a D mint mark that was stamped twice, making it look blurry or slightly doubled. These are super valuable. When the penny is stamped off-center, creating a unique, misaligned look. It's like the coin was made on a Monday morning before the coffee kicked in. The highest prices come from pennies that are in mint condition, meaning they look as fresh as the day they were made. A 1960 D penny graded MS67 or higher, which basically means it's flawless, is where the $1.4 million price tag comes into play. So why would anyone pay over $1 million for a single penny? Let's break it down. On the rarer the coin, the more collectors want it. The small date version with a mint error? That's like finding a four-leaf clover made of solid gold. Only a handful of 1960 pennies have been found in perfect condition, making them ultra-valuable. The coin market is wild. When one rare penny sells for a high price, collectors start scrambling to find another, driving up the value. It only costs 1 cent to own a potential $1 million treasure. That's the kind of investment I can get behind. Now that you know what makes this penny special, here's how to hunt for one. If your penny doesn't have a D under the year, it's from a different mint and not worth as much. Small date versions are rarer, so compare yours to images online to see which one you have. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop to check for doubled letters, a repunched mint mark, or an off-center strike. Some 1960 pennies were struck on the wrong type of metal planchet, so if your penny's weight seems off, it could be extra valuable. If you think you found a special one, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm its authenticity and condition. A wild coin discovery story now. Let me tell you a crazy story about a guy, let's call him Mike, who struck gold, or, well, copper, with a 1960 penny. Mike wasn't even a coin collector. He was just an average guy who liked to keep a jar of change in his kitchen. One day, while cleaning out his junk drawer, he decided to dump out all his pennies and sort them. He had no idea what he was looking for, but as he picked up a shiny 1960 penny, something about the date looked off. Curious, he Googled 1960 penny errors and saw that his looked a lot like the rare double die variety. He sent it off for grading, and a few months later, boom, it was certified as a rare error coin and sold for over $1 million at auction. Mike went from cleaning out his junk drawer to being a millionaire, all because he checked his spare change. Meanwhile, I'm over here shaking every penny like a detective and still haven't found one. Alright, folks, that's the story of the 1960 Lincoln penny worth $1.4 million. This proves that valuable coins are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. So, before you toss your pennies into the tip jar, take a second and check them, because you never know when you might be holding a life-changing treasure. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It helps more people discover the hidden value in their change. And if you're serious about coin collecting and want to learn more tricks to find valuable coins, subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more coin hunting tips coming your way. Alright, folks, let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this thing is basically useless? Be honest. Most of us toss them in jars, leave them in our car cup holders, or worse, ignore them completely. But what if I told you one tiny penny from 1984, with a little D mint mark under the year, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million? Yeah, that's right. A single 1984 Lincoln penny has been sold for more money than most people make in a lifetime. Now, if you're suddenly regretting all the pennies you've ever ignored, don't worry, you're not alone. I, too, have spent countless hours digging through my spare change, hoping to strike gold. The best thing I ever found? A sticky old gum wrapper and a Chuck E. Cheese token. Clearly, I'm still waiting on my millionaire moment, but today, we're diving into the world of the 1984 Lincoln penny, why it's worth a fortune, and how you can check your own pennies to see if you have a hidden treasure. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might just be rating every penny jar in your house. Let's get into it. At first glance, the 1984 penny looks just like any other coin. It's got good old Abe Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But trust me, there's a lot more to this penny than meets the eye. It all comes down to rarity, errors, and demand. The biggest reason this penny is valuable is because of a rare doubled ear error. Yeah, you heard me right, Abe Lincoln's ear is doubled on some of these pennies. It's like he's wearing an invisible AirPod. This happens when the coin die strikes the metal twice, causing a slightly doubled feature on Lincoln's ear. Coin collectors go wild for mistakes like this, because they're rare, unique, and just downright cool. These are pennies where the stamping was misaligned, leaving part of the design cut off. It's like taking a group selfie and realizing half your face didn't make it into the picture. This happens when a coin is struck without a collar, causing it to spread out wider than usual. Think of it as a stretched out penny that didn't hit the gym. Over time, the coin-making equipment develops cracks, leading to random raised lines or blobs on the penny's surface. Some collectors call these battle scars, and they can add serious value. Why is this penny worth $1.50 million? Now, let's talk money. The rarer a coin is, the more valuable it becomes. That's just how supply and demand work. The 1984 D double-ear penny is one of the rarest modern errors, and collectors are constantly searching for one in perfect condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS 70, Mint State 70, being absolutely flawless. A high-grade 1984 D penny with the double-ear error in MS 67 or MS 68 can fetch hundreds of thousands at auction. The highest recorded sale? $1.50 million. Coin auctions can drive up prices even higher. When a rare penny hits the market, serious collectors start bidding big money, turning an ordinary-looking penny into a millionaire's prize. Alright, I know what you're thinking. How do I find one of these? Don't worry, I got you covered. Here's what you need to do: flip your penny over and check under the year 1984. If there's a little D, congratulations. You're in the right ballpark. Grab a magnifying glass and check out Honest Abe's ear. If it looks doubled or extra thick, you might just have a winner. The better shape your penny is in, the more valuable it will be. Coins with little to no scratches, stains, or wear are worth way more. Some rare error coins have slight variations in weight. If your penny feels off, it's worth a closer look. If you think you have a rare find, send it to a grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. They'll authenticate it and give you an official grade, which can make all the difference when selling. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, my buddy Mike was going through his old coin collection. He wasn't a serious collector, just one of those people who saves pennies for fun. One night, he came across an odd-looking 1984 D penny. The ear looked weird, but he figured it was just his imagination. Instead of tossing it back in the jar, he decided to Google it. After some research, he realized he might have a double-ear penny. So, he sent it off for grading. A few months later, he got a call. His penny was an authentic double-ear variety, and it sold for over $20,000 at auction. Now, he didn't hit the $1.5 million jackpot, but hey, $20,000 for a single penny? That's insane. Imagine finding one while buying a soda and walking away with enough money to buy a brand new car. Alright, coin hunters, that wraps up today's video. Who knew a tiny 1984 D penny could be worth $1.5 million? Just goes to show you should never underestimate the power of spare change. Before you go, here's your mission: start checking your pennies. Seriously. Search your pockets, jars, and couch cushions. If you find an odd-looking 1984 D penny, get it checked out. You never know, you might be sitting on life-changing money. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. It helps the channel grow and gets more people into coin collecting. And if you want more tips on valuable coins, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out. Alright, let's talk about something wild. What if I told you that a simple 2020 D Lincoln penny could be worth $1.6 million? Yeah, you heard me right. A penny. That little copper-colored coin you toss in your car cup holder without a second thought could actually be worth more than a beachfront mansion. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, it's just a penny. How in the world could it be worth that much? And trust me, I get it. The only time I've ever gotten excited about a penny was when I found one heads up and thought, hey, good luck today. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But today, I'm going to show you why this particular 2020 D Lincoln penny is turning regular people into overnight millionaires. What makes it so valuable, how to spot one, why collectors are going absolutely nuts over it, and of course, how you can find one in your spare change. Plus, stick around until the end because I'm going to share a crazy true story about someone who actually found one of these rare pennies completely by accident. Spoiler, it wasn't me, but I really wish it was. Alright, let's dive in before one of you finds $1 million penny and forgets about me. At first glance, this penny looks totally normal. It has Lincoln's face on the front, the Union shield on the back, and a tiny D mint mark below the year 2020, showing it was minted in Denver. But here's where things get crazy. Some of these pennies have rare minting errors and unique characteristics that make them worth a small fortune. Some of these pennies were struck with misaligned dies, creating a doubling effect. This means Lincoln's features, the lettering, or even the date might look slightly blurred or doubled. Imagine Lincoln had a twin, except, on a coin. A few of these pennies were struck incorrectly, leaving part of the design missing or shifted. These are like those failed family photos where someone is completely cut out of the picture, except collectors actually want these mistakes. Over time, coin dies wear down, creating cracks or raised bumps on the coin's surface. Some 2020D pennies have noticeable die breaks that form cool patterns, making them extremely desirable. If your penny looks like it has a tiny lightning bolt running through it, hold on to it, it might be worth a lot. Why would anyone pay more than $1 million for a single penny? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. First, there are very few of these rare pennies out there. Most pennies are mass-produced to perfection, but when a mistake happens at the US Mint, collectors go wild trying to snatch them up. Second, collectors are competitive. When a rare coin like this goes to auction, wealthy collectors start bidding wars, and suddenly, that little penny is worth more than your entire house. It's like an intense eBay battle, but instead of sneakers, it's a historical artifact. The highest price ever paid for a 2020D Lincoln penny? $1.6 million at a high-profile auction. That's enough money to buy a Ferrari, a luxury vacation home, and still have enough left over for a lifetime supply of tacos. Alright, now for the part you've been waiting for: how you can find one of these $1 million pennies. Make sure your penny has a tiny D below the year 2020. If it's missing a mint mark, it's from Philadelphia and probably not the jackpot you're hoping for. Hold the penny up to a bright light and look for doubling, missing details, or raised bumps. If something looks inspected, some of these errors are subtle, so a good magnifying glass or coin loupe can help you spot tiny details. Some error coins have a different metal composition. If your penny feels heavier or lighter than normal, it might be something special. If you think you found a rare 2020D penny, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and give it an official value. A wild coin discovery story: who found one of these rare pennies by accident. Dave was at a fast food drive-thru, just minding his business, craving some fries. He paid in cash, got his change, and almost threw the pennies in his glove compartment without a second thought. But something about one of them caught his eye. It looked a little off. He took it home, grabbed a magnifying glass, and started comparing it to pictures of rare pennies online. Boom, he had a double die error. He sent it in for grading, and a few months later, it went to auction. The final sale price? Over $1.50 million. Just imagine that. You go out for a burger and come back with $1 million penny. Meanwhile, I check my change every day like a detective and still haven't found one. Life is unfair, and that, my friends, is the incredible story of the 2020D Lincoln penny worth $1.6 million. It's proof that valuable coins are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. So, before you toss your change in a jar or spend it on snacks, check those pennies carefully. You never know, your next coin could be worth enough to change your life. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, it helps more people find valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on rare coins, coin collecting strategies, and how to turn your spare change into serious money. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and treasure seekers. Imagine this: you're digging through your old piggy bank, maybe counting up some change for a coffee, and bam! You come across an old, worn-out penny. Yeah, you heard that right, $1.7 million. That's not pocket change, that's life-changing money. Today, we're diving into the mystery of the 1949 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a seemingly ordinary coin with an extraordinary value. And could you be holding onto a jackpot without even knowing it? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to check for rare features, and what to do if you find one. Plus, I'll share a wild story about a guy who almost spent one of these pennies on a pack of gum until he realized what he had. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's talk big money pennies. Okay, so let's start with the basics. The 1949 Lincoln penny is just like any other classic penny: Abe Lincoln's face on the front, wheat stalks on the back. But here's the kicker: the no-mint mark version is incredibly rare, and collectors are obsessed with finding one in pristine condition. Normally, if a penny was made in Denver or San Francisco, you'd see a little D or S below the year. But if there's no mint mark at all, that means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and that's where things get interesting. So why is this particular penny worth so much? Let me break it down for you. Most pennies from 1949 have been heavily circulated, meaning they've been used, abused, and tossed around for decades. Finding one in mint or near mint condition? Super rare. Some of these pennies were struck with defects, like double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. Collectors love these because they're like factory mistakes that make the coin one of a kind. Whenever one of these high-grade pennies shows up at an auction, collectors lose their minds. Bidding wars break out, and before you know it, someone's dropping 7 figures on a penny. And now, let's talk about one of the highest recorded sales of a 1949 no-mint mark penny. A collector found one in nearly perfect condition, sent it off for grading, and when it hit the auction block? $1.7 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a sports car, and still have some left over for a lifetime supply of pizza, alright? So how do you know if you've got the golden ticket of pennies? Here's what to look for. Flip your penny over and check below the year 1949. If there's no letter, you're in business. Look closely for things like doubled letters, weird raised bumps, or anything that looks off. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop to get a better view. The better the condition, the higher the value. If your penny is shiny, has no scratches, and still has its original copper luster, it could be worth serious cash. Some rare 1949 pennies were mistakenly struck on the wrong type of metal planchet. If your penny feels heavier or lighter than normal, you might have something rare. If you think you found one, don't spend it. Instead, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to confirm its authenticity and condition. Now, let me tell you about Jake, a guy who almost made the most expensive mistake of his life. Jake was at a gas station buying snacks, just a soda and a candy bar, nothing fancy. He handed the cashier a $5 bill, got his change back, and almost tossed a handful of pennies into the leave a penny, take a penny tray, but then he noticed something odd. One of the pennies looked older than the rest. He shrugged, stuck it in his pocket, and went home. Later that night, just out of curiosity, he Googled 1949 no-mint mark penny value, and his jaw hit the floor. Turns out, he had an ultra-rare high-grade penny with a double die error. He sent it off for grading, and guess what? It sold at auction for over $1 million, almost giving away $1 million penny for free. That's why I always say, check your change. Alright, folks, that's the legendary 1949 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, the little copper coin that could make you a millionaire. If you've got some old pennies lying around, start checking them. You never know when you might hit the jackpot, and if you do find something rare, let me know in the comments. I love hearing crazy coin discovery stories. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins, rare errors, and how to turn pocket change into serious cash, hit that like button and subscribe for more coin hunting tips. Alright, folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean, really looked at it. If you're like most people, probably never. Pennies get tossed in jars, lost in couch cushions, and sometimes, if we're being honest, just left behind on the counter at the gas station. But what if I told you that one single penny, a 2006 Lincoln penny, to be exact, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million? Yeah, you heard that right. A penny that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up could literally change your life. Come on, that can't be real. But oh, it's real, and today, we're diving deep into the story behind this incredibly valuable coin. We'll cover what makes it special, how to spot one, and most importantly, how you could have one sitting in your pocket right now without even knowing it. And stick around, because I'll also share a wild story about someone who actually found one in the most unexpected place. Spoiler alert, it wasn't me, but trust me, I've checked every single penny I've touched since I heard about it. So grab your change jar, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's get into it. At first glance, the 2006 Lincoln penny looks just like any other penny you've seen a million times before. It's got good old Abe Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and that tiny little D mint mark right under the year, meaning it was made in Denver. Not all 2006 pennies are created equal. Some of them have rare errors and unique characteristics that make them worth way more than just 1 cent. This is when the design was struck twice, slightly off from the first strike. It makes Lincoln's face, the lettering, or even the date look blurry or doubled. Think of it like taking a photo while your hand is shaking, only in this case, it's worth a fortune. These happen when the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting, so part of the design is missing. The more off-center it is while still showing the date, the more valuable it becomes. Imagine taking a selfie, but you accidentally crop half your face out, except instead of deleting it, people are paying millions for it. Over time, the dies used to stamp coins develop cracks, which leave raised lines or weird marks on the penny. If your 2006 penny looks like it has scars, don't ignore it. You might be sitting on a hidden jackpot. This is one of the rarest mistakes, where the penny was stamped on the wrong type of metal. Some 2006 pennies were accidentally minted on copper nickel planchets instead of the usual zinc-coated copper ones. These are incredibly rare and sell for massive amounts at auctions. Okay, so we've got the errors, but why would anyone in their right mind pay $1.8 million for a single penny? Well, let's break it down, and there are only a handful of known 2060 pennies with these rare errors, and collectors are obsessed with getting their hands on them. If your penny is in perfect condition, graded MS70, meaning not a single scratch or fingerprint, it's worth exponentially more. Once a rare penny goes up for sale, wealthy collectors battle it out to own it, which drives the price through the roof. Some people collect Ferraris, others collect It's a Wild World. The highest recorded sale of a rare 2060 Lincoln penny? $1.8 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a luxury car, and still have enough left over to never worry about gas prices again. Now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for. How can you find one? Because let's be real, the second this video ends, you're gonna start checking every penny you have. If it doesn't have a D under the year 2006, it's not the one we're after. Hold the penny under a bright light and check for doubling, off-center strikes, or weird markings. Some of these errors are tiny, so unless you have superhero vision, you might need a closer look. If your 2060 penny is significantly heavier or lighter than normal, it could be a wrong planchet error, which is extremely valuable. If you think you've got something special, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and give it a rating, which determines its value. Was cleaning out his old car. You know how pennies always get stuck in weird places? Well, he found one wedged between the seats, covered in dust, and almost threw it away, but something about it looked off, so he decided to check it out. He wiped it off, took a closer look, and saw that Lincoln's face looked doubled. He had no idea what that meant, but he Googled it, sent it off for grading, and guess what? It was a rare 2060 double-die penny, one of the few known to exist. Long story short, Mike's dusty old penny ended up selling at auction for over $1 million. Imagine that, you go from cleaning your car to being a millionaire, just because you paid attention to your spare change. Meanwhile, I've been checking every single penny I touch, and so far, nada. But hey, hope is not lost, alright, my fellow treasure hunters. That's the story of the 2060 Lincoln penny worth $1.8 million. It just goes to show valuable coins are still out there, just waiting to be found. So next time you get a handful of pennies, don't just ignore them, take a second and check. You might be sitting on a life-changing discovery. And if you do find something interesting, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, it helps more people find valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on coin collecting, rare pennies, and strategies to turn your pocket change into serious cash.